On a cold winter night, with the wind howling through the dry trees, Adam stood on a hill overlooking the village, his eyes fixed on an old, dust-covered house shrouded in darkness. It stood apart from the rest of the homes, isolated on the far edge of the village, as if watching from a distance through its lifeless windows. Since childhood, Adam had heard the stories. Footsteps echoing in the middle of the night, even though the place had been abandoned for decades. Strange lights appearing in its shattered windows. Muffled screams coming from deep inside. But tonight, Adam wasn't here to listen to stories. He was about to become part of one. Holding a flashlight in his hand and his phone in his pocket, he walked down the dirt path littered with fallen leaves. Each step crunched loudly in the silence, as though the ground itself was warning him to turn back. He reached the rusted iron gate, hanging half open, swaying in the wind with a long, mournful creak that sounded almost human. He pushed it and stepped inside. The overgrown yard resembled a small forest. Wild grass reached his knees, and dead, skeletal trees loomed above him. Then, from inside the house, came a faint whisper spoken in a language he didn't recognize. He raised his flashlight toward the Section 8, and on the upper floor, behind a dusty window, a shadow moved slowly. At the large wooden front door, he reached out to knock, but it opened on its own. Standing on the threshold, he peered down the long, dark hallway. The smell of mold and damp rot filled the air. At the far end, a dim light flickered and footsteps began to approach. Before he could step back, the door slammed shut behind him. Adam gripped his flashlight tighter, trying to see what was coming toward him. The dim light at the far end vanished suddenly, leaving only the small circle of light from his beam. The footsteps grew clearer, slow, heavy, dragging. "Who's there?" Adam called out, his voice trembling. No answer. He inched forward, heart pounding. A room on the right caught his attention. Peering in, he saw furniture draped in dust-covered white sheets and dark stains scattered across the wooden floor. As he stepped inside, the door closed softly behind him. He spun around and no one was there. Yet, in one corner, he heard slow, steady breathing. He aimed his flashlight at it. Nothing. Then he noticed something on the wall, words carved deep into the wood, as if by fingernails, "Who entered never leaves." He stepped back, his foot bumping into something small. It was a broken doll, half its face burned, its single glass eye staring directly at him. Suddenly, a sharp voice screamed in his ear, "Leave now." Adam jerked back, almost dropping his flashlight, and bolted into the hallway. But the hallway was gone. In its place was a narrow wooden staircase leading upward, though it hadn't been there when he entered. Adam didn't know how the house had changed, but reason no longer seemed to apply here. From above came a faint creaking sound, like someone moving very slowly. He climbed the stairs, each step groaning under his weight. At the top was a short corridor ending in a single door. On the walls hung old family portraits, a father, a mother, and a little girl. All the faces were scratched and distorted except for the girl's, whose eyes glimmered unnervingly. Adam reached for the doorknob, but before touching it, he heard a child's giggle from inside. He pushed the door open. The room was filled with toys, dolls scattered across the floor, but every single one of them was facing him, as if waiting. In the far corner sat a young girl in an old white dress, her long black hair covering half her face. "Who are you?" Adam asked. The girl slowly lifted her head, smiling faintly, then pointed behind him. Adam turned, and saw a large mirror. It reflected the room but not him. In the reflection stood someone identical to him, but with a pale, lifeless face and pitch-black eyes. The figure in the mirror reached out a hand trying to pull him in. Adam yanked himself free, stepping away from the mirror. The girl began to laugh louder, and the toys on the floor started moving on their own. He bolted out into the hallway, now much longer than before, lined with countless doors. He opened one at random and found himself in a dark basement. The stench of blood and rot was overwhelming. Old wooden crates lay scattered across the floor, one of them half open. Approaching cautiously, he pushed the lid back to reveal human bones and tattered clothing. From behind him, a man's voice whispered, "You've found them." Adam spun around and no one was there. The voice came again, closer this time, "But, will you survive?" From the shadows emerged a tall, twisted silhouette, its limbs deformed, its face featureless. It stepped forward, heavy and slow. Adam backed away until he hit the wall, but the wall gave way, swallowing him whole. Adam stumbled into a small room lit by a dim red glow. The walls were covered in writing. He let no one leave. In the center stood an old wooden chair, and on it sat a figure, head bowed. Cautiously, Adam approached, placing a hand on the figure's shoulder. It raised its head. It was Hema, dead. The dead version smiled and spoke in a cold voice, "Now, you will stay here, and I will leave." A chilling numbness swept through Adam's body, his vision dimming. The last thing he saw was the door opening, and the other him stepping out, leaving him behind, trapped in the house. Days later, villagers swore they saw Adam walking through the streets. But they all noticed one disturbing detail: his eyes were completely black.